in Boston. It is freezing up here again today. That's right. It is late December in Massachusetts. And you know what that means? That means if you go outside and you're outside for like a good 5 to 10 minutes, you literally have icicles hanging off of your balls at this time of the year. So, hey, welcome to the live show. This is John DiVito just getting underway here in snowy, cold, freezing Massachusetts. And like I said, I went outside earlier today, and within 5 minutes, I think I had icicles hanging off of my balls here in Massachusetts, and that was definitely not a good thing. So, it is what it is up here at this time of year. We've got January, we've got February. March pretty much sucks also, and then maybe by April we might see some better weather up here. But, hey, we're making the most of it. It is Christmas week, so I'm excited about Christmas like I always am. And, Christmas is a cool time up here. We've got the snow on the ground, so it looks like we're going to have a white Christmas this year, which is nice. Some years we don't have that, but I'm looking out right now. We've got probably like a good foot of snow on the ground right now, so I don't think there's any chance we're not going to have a white Christmas here in Massachusetts this year. So welcome to everyone coming in to the show. This is a pop-up show today that I'm doing this afternoon, and I appreciate you all coming in. As you come in, if you're new to the John DeVito Show, please give me a follow, and please share my live. I would greatly appreciate it. But, so things up here are going well. It's chilly. We have a lot of snow. We've been making the most of it. We've been snowboarding. We have been skiing and doing all those things we do up here in these cold weather climates, and getting ready for Christmas. So we've got, at our house, most of the Christmas shopping is done. We spent some time this weekend wrapping Christmas presents and doing all that good stuff. And, it's all good. So we're getting there. It's right around the corner. Thursday's Christmas Eve day. Friday's Christmas Day. So we've only got a couple of days left. It's a nice short work week, which is good for everybody, which is certainly good for me. I'm happy about that. But, so that's where we're at. We're kind of excited. Hopefully everyone out there is in the Christmas spirit. Hopefully everyone's kind of feeling that and, feeling good about where we are right now in the world and with everything. I mean, as we have all talked about, 2020 has been one big kick in the ass this year. So, I'm kind of happy it's coming to an end a little bit. And that's kind of what, we're hoping maybe 2021 will be like a little bit better year. We'll see. But, so, for me, I'm looking forward to it. The family tradition is going to be a little bit different in my house this year. We are not going to have, probably as many people as we've had in the past. But we are going to have our immediate family around and doing all that good stuff. So, it'll be good to see my father. My father-in-law, unfortunately, is not going to be here. He's going to be down in Florida, and he's the smart one. He's not waist deep in snow down there. He can go to the beach on Christmas Day or do whatever he wants to do. So I'm jealous of him being in that warm weather climate. So I'll tell you, big disappointment this weekend here in Massachusetts. For the first time in God knows how long, 14 years, 15 years, the New England Patriots failed to make the playoffs. So that was a huge disappointment. Tom Brady is playing down in sunny Florida and Tampa, and you've got, unfortunately, we've got Cam Newton up here in Massachusetts. For me, I was kind of excited when the Patriots had signed Cam Newton because when Brady left and went to Florida, I was disappointed. I'm a big Brady fan, but I'm also a fan of Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick is a great coach. People say he's the GOAT of coaches. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But, Brady is obviously the GOAT. He's the best. And when Brady decided to move to Tampa Bay, a lot of people were saying that now we're going to finally see how good Tom Brady is because he's not going to have Belichick. A lot of loyal Belichick people up here in Massachusetts felt that Brady, was maybe just living off of his coattails, that, Belichick was the one that made Brady great, and it wasn't the other way around where Brady maybe made Belichick great. Well, when the Patriots signed Cam Newton, I knew he'd had trouble in Carolina. He hadn't been an effective, quarterback playing for Carolina at all. But I figured if anybody could turn Cam Newton around, it would be Bill Belichick. I mean, Belichick is a great coach. He's supposedly the GOAT. And, Newton was a guy that a few years back was one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. So I figured at the age of 30, the Patriots grabbed this guy, and he's now, a Patriots quarterback. You've got Bill Belichick, who is basically doing his thing and coaching the team, and he's going to turn Newton around. I figured we would kind of extend the dynasty. I mean, maybe not in the next year or so, but I figured with Newton at quarterback, Belichick would get him straight. We draft some more receivers and things like that. We've got a decent running game, a decent offensive line. I figured the Patriots would at least be a formidable team this year where they made the playoffs. Well, the bad news is they were not. Excuse me. Cam Newton just did not pan out. He is not the quarterback I expected. Bill Belichick was not able to work his magic on Cam Newton and turn him around like we had hoped. So, it's one of those things where, the Patriots for the first time in a long time are just not going to be in the playoffs. And, hey, Patriots fans, you have to just come to terms with it. We do not have a good football team. And maybe, just maybe, Tom Brady was more of the genius than Bill Belichick is. I know up here in New England, that's absolute sacrilege to even say that. But, it's kind of true where, Cam Newton just, Belichick couldn't turn him around. The team has been awful all year. And I've had people up here, and this kind of drives me crazy. I hear people in New England saying that the Boston fans and the Boston media have not accepted Cam Newton because he's black. That drives me crazy. For me, I don't care if Cam Newton's black, green, blue, red, whatever. If the man can play football, he can play football, and that's all we care about in New England. The bottom line is Cam Newton's thrown 5 touchdown passes all season. Brady's thrown over 20 in Tampa Bay. So, unfortunately, Cam just didn't pan out, but it doesn't really leave the Patriots in, a very strong place going forward. So, it is what it is. Hopefully, the Patriots can turn things around. But, up here, the younger people in New England, man, they're spoiled. They are used to, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick winning every year. They're used to the team being in the playoffs. And the younger generation isn't used to having a lousy football team up here in New England. And I'm sorry, kiddos, that's what we have right now. So, hey, welcome to the people coming into the show. Please share my live when you can. Today's going to be a freestyling show where I'm just looking to have people call in, looking to have people talk a little bit. And, I've got some things I want to talk about today. But, not anything that's really set in stone. We got a lot going on, obviously, with the whole election still. It seems like there's still a lot of resistance from the right. The left is basically talking about, again, they're just moving forward and Biden's going to be our president. But I think a lot of people are just not agreeing with that. And we'll get into talking about that in a little bit. But, hey, Robert, I see that you're in. Thank you for coming in, Robert. And thank you for coming in, Eric. I really appreciate both you guys being here. Yeah, if you want to call in, guys, please do. Hopefully we'll get this show going and get a few more people coming into the live. Eric, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Good. Doing well. It's cold up here. As I was saying,
I know, right?
Got on. Oh, yeah. It's.
Well, the weather's really nice today down here, but it'll probably get cold tonight, but hopefully the weather holds to where we can see it here. But the old man and Grammy regret that they may not get to see it tonight because of the cloud cover.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm hoping to get out and see that also tonight. That's going to be pretty amazing to get out and see that now. So now where in the sky is this supposed to be tonight?
It's supposed to be in the southwestern skies, like after sunset.
Okay, so I got to make sure. I'm looking right now. Unfortunately, it's cloudy here also. Darn it. I hadn't really thought about that. I'm looking up right now. It's still light enough where I can see the sky right now. And we've got
hopefully other friends of ours will be able to see it. Like Slightly Serious if he... and hopefully Dina Joe out in Colorado and Cummings out in Alabama.
Yeah, some of those places where they actually have clear skies and nice weather. Well, that's you. You have nice weather. What was the temperature in Georgia today? Hey, Father Brian, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm in the car right now. It's registering 60, but it's comfortable enough for me to wear shorts and sandals, which I think that's a fashion statement for this time of year for me.
Well, see, now that's the difference now. I see Father Brian saying it's 53 in Illinois. Here in Massachusetts, it's 33 right now, and I have shorts on right now. So I still wear shorts even when it's in the 30s. So I'm still.
Hey, Glenn.
I'm still in the shorts. Hey, Glenn, welcome to the show, guys. So yeah, we're just kind of freestyling a little bit today. If anybody wants to call in and join the show. I'm up for all topics today. Yeah, I'm one of those shorts guys, man. I wear shorts all year round. you'll see me in January with 2 feet of snow on the ground, and I'll have my shorts on. I usually trade in the sandals though. When the snow hits, sandals and snow doesn't really work out all that well. But so I kind of traded in for sneakers or whatever else. But so Eric, yeah, you getting excited for Christmas? We're only a few days away now. I saw that the old man had his contest.
Gingerbread.
I think it was today, gingerbread house contest.
Today's the last day.
Okay, did they pick a winner yet
The
or
winner
no?
will be announced about Wednesday or Thursday, he said, but tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern is the deadline to submit your gingerbread house photos. So far, we've gotten Rich and his son, and we've gotten Miss Five, and I think Dina Joe and J Baby have participated.
Nice. Actually, I was going to participate. I see Robert, before I talk about this, it's 43 with a real feeling of 28 in Iowa. So, it's pretty chilly where Robert is as well. But actually, my kids made 4 gingerbread houses, and we were actually going to enter the contest. But then they ate them. They ate their gingerbread houses, so we couldn't enter the contest. I know. They ate them.
I know.
So all of a sudden, I go and look. There's like a roof missing. There's a door missing. A whole wall missing. I'm like, what happened to your gingerbread houses? We got hungry. I was like, all right, well, now I can't take pictures. I should have snapped pictures right away before they started eating them,
Or maybe they've got to explain to the old man that they were so delicious they gobbled it all up.
Exactly. But, oh, my God, I saw the pictures on Instagram of Dina Joe's and the old man's gingerbread house. Amazing. I mean, amazing work. I mean, ours would have gotten killed in that contest. Obviously, they're pretty talented in creating gingerbread houses. Now, Glenn, I don't know if you're still here, man. I was talking about the Patriots being dead this year, talking a little sports. The New England Patriots, for the first time in, 15 years, did not make the playoffs this year. So, it is what it is. We've been spoiled fans up here in New England for a long time. So we're just kind of dealing with that.
Give somebody else a chance to win, in other words.
Exactly.
But don't tell that to New England fans.
Well, you know what? So now I'm a little bit different. When I grew up, the Patriots were like the New York Jets of the NFL. They were the worst team of the NFL every year. When I went with my dad, we could literally go to the Patriots games and buy game day tickets on the day of the game and get like 40 or 50 yard line seats. And it was funny. I never was able to watch Patriots home games on TV when I was a kid, because unless the stadium sold out, they wouldn't broadcast the games on TV. So the only games I ever saw were away games that they put on television. So, yeah, the Patriots, when I was a kid, they were terrible. They were, I know. I know I'm not going to get any sympathy from anybody, Glenn. The Patriots, they're done. Cam Newton, that experiment has not worked out. He is not a good quarterback anymore. I was hoping, he'd be able to turn it around, or Belichick could get him going in the right direction. But, yeah, he's done. He's not a quarterback. What I floated out there a little bit, I'm not going to talk football all day, but hey, Jess, welcome to the show. But what I would love to see the Patriots try and do is, Cam Newton, in my opinion, is done as a quarterback. He threw 5 touchdown passes all season, which is horrible. I'd like to see them make him a tight end, because he can catch the ball. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. He's fast. He runs hard. Turn him into a tight end, make him the next Gronkowski, and give the backup quarterback a chance to come in and play, the young kid that they drafted last year. So probably never going to happen, but that's what I would do if I was running the team. So, Eric, what's going on with some of the other shows today? I did see there was a little bit of Podbean drama going on over the last couple of days. I've been trying to keep out of that, all that stuff. But, I haven't
really paid too much attention.
Yeah, I've heard some things about a few different things going on, and I'm just going to keep myself from, I had enough of my drama a few months back, so I'm looking to keep away from all that stuff now and keep away from it. But hey, Robert, I see you up there, buddy. How you doing? Thanks for calling in. That's the way to be, Father Brian. Just not get in the middle of it and remain drama-free. I agree with you. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I'm good. I've got a procedure tomorrow, so I have to have my dinner eaten and done by 6 p.m. Because I can't have anything
what type of
else
procedure? What do you haven't done?
I'll be having a procedure done where they stick something in my throat to monitor heartburn.
Endoscopy.
That's right.
2
You
days.
told me about that.
This one's done wireless, so I don't have a stupid tube down my throat 48 hours. So I go gag this, gag, eat this, gag that. No, I think this one will be better because it's all wireless.
So do they know what's wrong? Do they have any idea? I mean, obviously that's why they're doing the test. But do they have an idea
It's
what they
gotta.
think it might be?
It's gotta be the valve that's connected to my stomach that don't
Okay.
shut properly.
Wow. So is
They
this a
just need
serious
to.
issue or?
Yes, it is.
Oh boy. Well, buddy, I'll pray for you tonight. Are you nervous at all about going in and having the surgery done or the procedure?
No, it's just I don't like the idea that I can't eat nothing after 6 o'clock. All I can do is drink
Yeah.
stuff until up till
Yeah.
midnight.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough not to be able to eat after 6. You have to have a nice big meal right before 6. Eat as much as you can, and go to bed early, and then it won't bother you as much. But you seem like you stay up pretty late because you do your music shows pretty late at night, right?
Actually, I'm changing times.
Oh, you are. What time are you going to have
Weekday,
it?
Monday through Friday is 5 to 8 p.m.
Oh, good.
Saturday, Sunday will be 12 to 3 a.m.
Oh, perfect. So I'll
Central
get a
Time.
chance to get into your show a little bit more often. That's a little bit earlier for me, which is good. Like I told you, sometimes when I can't sleep, I see your show pop up and I get on and listen for a bit. And it's really a good show to listen to. I enjoy it. But I don't know. I've been thinking about a lot of stuff today, Eric. We could talk a little bit about politics. I don't want to make that the whole show because I know it bores some people, so I don't want to be just politics today. But let me ask you real quick. I mean, what do you think is going to happen on January 6th? Do you think anything's going to change, or is this thing done? I mean, I keep getting my hopes up, and I don't know if we're going to, end up seeing Trump take any action or not. What do you think?
I think I still maintain that the situation is still very fluid, of course. But January 6th could prove interesting whether or not we see, a couple of congressmen, including most notably, as Cummings would say, Mo Brooks, and new coming U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, and any other senators and congressmen join in to contest those swing states where there appear to be too many irregularities.
Hey, Glenn, you saying I should start some drama with Brian? Maybe I can have you guys start. Why don't you guys create a little drama in the message thing here, and I'll kind of get going and kind of rip into you guys for creating drama in my show. So, I think Father Brian and Glenn should kind of have a little bit of a disagreement here. For whatever reason, I see the two of them. I don't know. Solid plan. So let's get something going. Let's create some controversy. And who knows, they'll make it around the Podbean community in no time. Did you hear what happened between Glenn and Father Brian on the John DeVito show? I agree. Drama's stupid. I know. When I get caught up in drama, I'm pissed afterwards because I'm like, why the fuck did I let myself get caught up in drama? Because drama is so damn stupid. I agree with you. But sometimes it just happens. Improv is fun. Yes. Now, see, that would be good. Maybe we should have Glenn and Father Brian call in and have a little improv drama on our show to kind of get things going and spice things up a little bit. I'm open to do anything today. I'm kind of in a crazy mood today, so I kind of want to get some things going and fire some people up, man. As they say. But I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, with the election, we'll see what happens. I've been thinking. My head's all over the place today. I've been thinking about all different types of things today, and one of the things I was thinking about, and I'm sorry if this annoys Jess, but today in society, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It's been kind of bugging me. So tell me if I'm wrong or not. But right now in the year 2020, is this literally like the worst time in American history to be a white man? I know this is kind of like an explosive thing, but for me, for the first time in our country's history, it is a negative thing to be a white man. We are, we're white privilege. We're this, we're that, we're the other thing. Everything's been handed to us. We're racist. I mean, all these different things that we're called. We're all misogynists. I mean, I hear all these different terms all the time. And I don't know, it kind of annoys me because, again, I'm the same person I've always been. And I hate to hear all these labels that are being kind of thrown on white people, especially white men, all the time. So I don't know. Do you ever feel that, Erica, or am I crazy? Robert, do you guys ever feel like that? I just feel like white men are under attack all the time. We're supposed to be more feminine now. We're not supposed to be masculine. If we're too masculine, then it's toxic masculinity. And I don't know. It seems like that society is trying to get white men to backpedal all the time. So I don't know.
Well, that is unfortunate, of course.
Yeah. You think it's true, though? I mean, you think there's any legitimacy to that? Do you think that society is kind of targeting white men at this point?
Can't really tell. I mean, I just try to keep an optimistic outlook that things will get better.
Let's see. Animal rights people, racial rights people, vegetarian groups. We would offend them all, Brian. Oh, who was my son was talking about some vegan the other day. He was watching, like, I guess there's some famous vegan on TikTok, and he got into like a little bit of an argument with her on TikTok because he was making comments like she was talking about being a vegan. So he was, of course, my son is getting on saying he likes to eat cows and things like that. And just kind of going off. Oh, we got Father Brian calling in. This could be some of the stuff going on. Oh, I'm getting excited now.
Male, wait a minute. Straight white male is the only minority you can't prove me wrong.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
No, I mean it.
I agree with you.
Like, if you're a straight white male and you try to get a job at the fucking post office, you're not getting in the door. Let's just get it said. Straight white male is the last minority. I'm the guy I'll call and start all kinds of shit because I believe in black privilege. You know, the ability to tell bad jokes. No, there is black privilege. You can be a comedian.
I agree with you 100%.
Shitty jokes, white jokes. You can do it all fucking day long. We'll all laugh. That's black privilege.
I mean, why is it funny when African Americans or anybody really can use the word cracker and everybody thinks it's funny? You know, I mean, you talk about a white person, a white male in America today. Okay, we all have white privilege. All right, let me tell you what my white privilege was. My white privilege was growing up in a lower middle class family where I had an abusive father, I had a sick mother, and nothing in my life was ever fucking handed to me. Right, I had to work my fucking ass off. Exactly.
Oh, and 9 times out of 10, you were told what a piece of shit you were when you failed. You know what I mean?
Always.
That's
you're
what
stupid.
Our parents
you're
did.
this.
We're not
you're
even
that.
bitching, are we? We're not even whining about it. That's how it was, John.
That's the thing. I'm sitting back and I'm just waiting for my privilege to kick in. I'm 52 years old and I haven't seen the white privilege yet. So I'm still hoping it's going to show up one of these days. You know, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, Father
You know what's
Brian.
wrong with the world? I know what's wrong with the world. You can no longer pick up a stranger's kid in Walmart and beat their ass for being an asshole. Remember when you and I could have that done to us? Like, I literally was at a store one time, John DiVito, and I got my ass beat by a clerk. My mom found out and beat my ass when I got home.
Yep. I remember those days. Absolutely.
Yeah, I did not know that fucking store clerk from nobody.
I still remember.
That bitch was beat my ass.
Well, I still remember I went to one of the neighborhoods I used to play in when I was a kid. And I used to hang out with a group of guys, you know, some are older, some are younger, whatever. And a few of the guys played hockey. And one of the guys' father was a tough guy. He was a tough son of a bitch, you know, their dad. So there was this big pile of dirt in the yard. I don't know if they were doing landscaping or whatever the hell they were doing. So we were playing King of the Mountain. I was the biggest kid there. So I was throwing all the little kids off. And we weren't being assholes. We weren't bullying anybody. We were just playing, having fun. So all of a sudden, the father comes out, man. He saw me throwing people off this mountain. He came out, and I was like, I don't know, I was like 10. He's grabbing me by the shirt, screaming at me, pushing at me, telling me he was going to beat my ass, and everything else. And that was just the way it was back then. I mean, you know, parents would step in. And, you know, man, I'll tell you, I hear about the white privilege all the time.
Parenting.
And I'm just like, I missed it. I fucking missed it.
There's your privilege. There's your privilege, John. Strangers can threaten to murder you, and then your parents got mad at you. There's your white privilege. You feel good? I know I do. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
But let's face it, that's not a racial issue. That's anybody that's our age. I mean, if you came up in our era or before, strangers beat the fuck out of you. That's how it was.
Oh, totally.
That was called village parenting back then. You know, right? Yeah.
Well, you know what gets me today? What bothers me today? I mean, in my age, I don't give a fuck. You can take your white privilege and stick it where the sun doesn't shine. I don't care. But the thing that bothers me is I see my 3 boys being affected by it because they are almost like, you know, walking on eggshells all the time because they're worried about if they say the wrong thing, someone's going to call them a sexist or someone's going to call them this or someone's going to call them that. And it's like, you know what? You can't live your life walking on eggshells. My kids, for the most part, are good people. Do they fuck up? Of course they do. All kids fuck up. My kids make mistakes. They make bad decisions. You know, whatever. But it's just crazy. It's sad to see them have to grow up in a world where they feel like they're doing something wrong, you know?
Yeah. Just for being born. I can tell you how that goes. I was born with cerebral palsy in 1972. If you really want to know what you're going to do to a person, if you just convince them there's something wrong with them their whole life, you'll fuck them up. I've got complex PTSD. You know, we were just talking about little man. Just a little bit ago. We had to come home. We had gone and done, the laundry dry and picked it up, brought him home, flipping out because he hasn't seen another human being but two of us much in the last year, and he's only two. I mean,
you see Glenn's comment. Glenn, John, 10 minutes ago, I'm going to stay out of drama. John, now, let's take a run at white privilege.
Right. Yeah. Fuck it. I'm even up here with you. I'm down. Let's do it. Why not?
Well, again,
I'm white, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
No, again, when I talk about white privilege, this does not mean to disparage anybody else. It really doesn't. Again, to me, this has nothing to do with Black Americans, Hispanic Americans. This has to do with the phenomenon of what we're dealing with in this country now, and I think a lot of it is media driven. Like I look at my boys.
Media driven.
It is. I mean, it's media driven, and again, I think in general. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different types of people in the world. You have different types of personalities. But today, to be a man's man, you're now all of a sudden a toxic personality. And I'm not gonna. I'm definitely an alpha. I'm a big person. I played football. I'm a guy's guy. I always have been. I always will be. And I'm not going to apologize for that. Now, does that mean I'm an abusive asshole? No. I stand up for people. I'm good to my wife. I would never raise a hand to a woman. I'm a guy that's respectful. I'm a gentleman. But again, when you hear things like white privilege, damn it, I've never been privileged. I've worked for everything I've had in my life. And yes, I'm a masculine person, and I don't think I should have to apologize for that to anybody. And, again, I don't think anybody that has a different demeanor should have to apologize. And it's just, for whatever reason, I don't know, white men are just being told, we're toxic, we are this, we're that, this is what we're supposed to be, we're responsible for all these things that have happened over the last 200 years in this country. I mean, how is that on me? What did I do? I was raised, in the 80s, and here I am now, and I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me. Yeah.
So when I suggested that because we're all broke this year due to pandemic that men should get anal sex for Christmas last night, is that toxic?
True. I know.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, is that toxic? I'm a comedian. I tell dirty jokes. Now am I toxic? I'm 5 foot with one good arm and leg. Does that make me a toxic male? I mean, ain't I too short to be toxic? Really? I mean,
now,
see, that's what I mean, though, John. You're a big guy. I'm not. Yeah, no, I always have been. I think it's just part of my nature. That's why I didn't suicide out as a teenager. You know what I mean? When I was going through you and I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I got my ass beat a lot because there wasn't no anti-bullying back then. You just stuck the fuck up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing back then, though. I mean, the good thing back then was, again, if you defended yourself, whatever way that was, it was then over. It was over. Glenn, asshole. Today, if you defend yourself, then like I told the story. Like, my son got into a fight. He defended himself, and he got suspended for defending himself. That was bullshit. He had no choice. He was getting punched in the face. What was he supposed to do? Lay on the ground and cry? Beg for help? Run to a teacher? He stood up for himself, and he got suspended for defending himself. Crazy.
For that. I get in trouble all the time for that. Yeah, I feel for you. I've literally told a kid, if they do it again, pick up a stick and beat the little fuck till he can't get up. Now I'm toxic again.
Yeah.
But that's how you and I came up.
That's the thing,
That's the way it fucking was. You can't take yours, get a back.
Yeah. Well, I still remember, I heard this story from my wife. Well, my brother-in-law apparently got beat up in school when he was younger. And he came home, the school called his house, and his father literally put him in the car, drove him to the bully's house, and said, go up and ring his fucking doorbell. When he answers, you kick the living shit out of him. So my father-in-law literally
ring his fucking bell, don't wait.
His son, and he did. He went over there. He got the kid out on the front steps, beat the shit out of him, and it was over. But, he taught him to stand up for himself. If he did that today, he'd probably be in jail.
Me up in the car more than once. No. Yeah.
I bet he did.
Come on, we're going to go take care of this. Yeah.
It must have been hard for you. So you were a small guy, and you had CP as well. So you must have taken your share of shit for that, right?
Because I did up until the 3rd grade. I'll tell you what happened. And now this isn't said with pride. Up until I was in third grade, John, I had a brace on my leg for years on the left side and all that. And I did get bullied from the time I was in kindergarten all the way to third grade. In the second grade, in fact, one of my uncles, had he not saved my life in a bathroom in a grade school, I'd have been beaten to death by two guys with ball bats that were in the 8th grade. Now, in the third grade, there was a kid picking on me, and a bunch of teenagers who knew my family stood up in the middle of the bus, and I took my brace off, and I nearly beat that kid to death. People leave me the fuck alone. With objects, I don't give a fuck. If you're fighting with me, you're not fighting with me. I'm gonna kill you because I'm that size. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't have that extra. My son has literally nearly gotten stabbed. I was drunk at a party and didn't know it was him. I was getting ready to, well, I call it Giga Guy. And he grabbed me and started screaming, "Dad, it's me," as he was shaking me up and down. He's a big kid, so I wouldn't stab him in the leg. Like I said, I've got PTSD. People don't fuck with me. It's not a fight. I will do what I got to do.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, for me also, I think it's probably part of the way I was raised in my house, where it was a tough environment. And then you mix in 11 years of playing football on top of it. I know, like, he's all over you down there. I was reading his comments. Back in the day when punching a motherfucker in the face was acceptable conflict management. And then he says, Jesus, Brian.
It ends conflict. If everybody that comes at you knows he nearly killed a guy when he was 7 or 8, they leave you the fuck alone. I like it that way. And the ones that didn't, I did what I had to do.
Yeah, I think in general, when you're a kid, if you get into one good fight and you do it in front of a lot of people and you kick the shit out of somebody, that saves you from like 10 fights going forward in the future.
And we all remember, John, you remember that, like, it ain't just about when you were a kid not winning. You end up knowing you're both going to get your ass beat. You know what I mean?
Right.
I guess you learn as you get into adulthood. By the time we're like 25 or 30, it's like, why are we doing this? We're both going to feel like shit tomorrow. You know, but you have to age into that as men.
Oh,
now
yeah. I mean,
you shouldn't tell a male child or a female child to defend themselves. That's toxic. You going to tell me that when your kid's getting raped?
I know.
I was also molested as a kid.
Well, that's what happens, I think, a lot in the schools today. I mean, everyone blames the guns, but it's not the guns that's the problem. The problem is you have kids that are bullied, and they can't stand up for themselves because if they do, they get punished, and they have no way to stand up for themselves, no way to fight back. So eventually, when in these teenage brains, when they think that, okay, there's no possible way my life is ever going to be better, it's always going to be shit like it is right now, that's when you have kids walking into a school with an AK-47 and opening fire at all the kids that are fucking bullied.
Yeah, it just slows every fucking buddy down. Yeah, exactly. Because they had no means of actually dealing with that. Because a few years ago, I happened to be at a parent-teacher meeting where there was a child being bullied. Now, the father sitting in that room going, "You can tell us, nobody will know." Now, the child in question wasn't that fucking stupid. If you rat, no birthday parties. You got no friends. That's not resolution. Teach him to pick up a stick and put that motherfucker on his ass. One time and they're done. They won't have to do it twice. But I'm an asshole for suggesting that, you know.
And that's what boys do. I mean, when my son got into that fight, it was with a very good friend of his, and they got into their fight. The fight was broken up. It was over. You know, they both got in trouble for it. But literally, before the school even handed out punishments, this kid was at our house with his mother, and my son and him hugged it out. It was all over. We went to a fair that weekend together. It was done. It was done.
What I mean.
They fought it out. It was over.
They had a disagreement, and they fucking settled that shit up. Yeah, no, that's how you did things once upon a time.
Let's see. I see Glenn saying, "I smashed a block of ice on a bully's face. He didn't go after me at all after that." Can't blame him, man. If someone beat me in the face with a block of ice. Yep.
Hey, man, I bet it didn't start at blocking you. I get it. Fuck her out. And then the next guy.
Yeah, my sister almost killed me once. I had my younger sister. I was the older. I was like 5. Yeah, I said that I had a younger sister. I was 5 years older than her. And one day, I don't know what I did to her. I'm sure I was being an asshole like I was to her every day of her life. And one day, she took a full-blown log, like we had a wood stove in our house. She took a log when I wasn't looking and bashed me right in the back of the head with it. Blood everywhere. It was like a crime scene. I remember going inside to my mother, "Mom, I think I have to go to the hospital. I'm bleeding." I remember my mother's response was, she wasn't looking at me. She said, "Don't be a pussy, John." So I turned and looked. I took my hand and put it in front of her face. And she looked, and there was blood all over my hand. My mother's like, "Oh, my God." I'm like, "Yeah, Susan hit me in the head with a fucking log bomb. She almost killed me." And I mean, that was just another day, in the DeVito house.
She fucking hit me in the head with a log.
A big log.
And that was sibling. But that was a fucking sibling back in our day, dude. It was, John. Like, you were fucking with your sister, or you didn't have to. You piss her off, and next thing you know, man, it's fucking brooms and logs. Yeah.
Yep.
I was picking on my brother. I was dating a girl, and I was picking on my little brother at her house, and she lived with her grandma, and her grandma beat me with a broom until I was underneath the coffee table till I left him alone. Shit, you know. Welcome to the 80s. And I had it coming, John. I wouldn't quit fucking with him. You know what I mean? It's not like you're that wise.
The good old days, back in the 70s and 80s, you guys that are younger have no idea what we went through. And, we went through a lot of shit back in those days with parents. But I remember my next door neighbor, you could hear his mother beating him. They had, in the kitchen, they had a giant wooden hand that was probably, I don't even know, 4 inches thick, and she would hang it in the kitchen. So when the kids were being bad, she'd pull off that hand and she'd beat their asses with it. And our houses were relatively close together, so I'd be outside shooting hoops, and all of a sudden I'd hear, "Barry, I told you not to do that again. Leanne, get me the hand." And you'd hear Barry screaming, "No, Mom, no!" And you'd hear,
"No, Mom, no!" Yeah, exactly. "Mom, no!" Yeah. That was our childhood, John. I know, right?
Yep.
We're all fucking traumatized, but we get shit done,
Exactly.
I tell people now, that's why. Look, if you even look at a kid, John, like we got looked at as children, you'd either go to jail or they take your kids. And that's for the looks we got from our moms. You know the one I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you did not want to leave the public area with Mom because you knew when you did, you were fucked. It was over. You might not survive the trip home. And that was a look, people. She could look at you and you knew. How about this one, John? Did you ever wait till your father gets home?
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to.
Did you ever get told to wait till your dad?
I was just going there. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
And how about
I still
this
remember the sound of a belt quickly leaving a pant loop. You know what I mean?
That's where I was going next. If you remember, all my father had to do was he'd look at me and start unbuckling his belt, and I'd be like, "Oh fuck," he's gonna beat my ass with a belt.
You're like, "Oh shit, I'm fucked now," right? Yeah.
Oh.
And guys, we get it. John and I are traumatized, but
Yep. See what you missed?
Not really.
Not growing up in the 70s and 80s. You missed all this good stuff, getting beaten.
All these fucking helmets and knee pads on bicycles. What the fuck's wrong with you guys? How many times did you fall off your bike, John? Remember when you were a kid and I was a kid, you would beat the kid up that they sent with pads because he should at least be smart enough to hide them in the bushes?
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember anyone ever having like a helmet or any type of pad for their bike. I mean, it just wasn't anything we did at all. And I mean, we were jumping off ramps and, dirt biking and doing whatever else. So we did all that crazy shit. We just didn't wear anything like that. I still remember now the same group of friends. I was telling you the story about the guy, the father that was beating the crap out of me in the backyard. The same group of guys. There was a giant oak tree over the main road in which I lived on, like toward the other end of the road, and it was right near their neighborhood. So these guys literally, now this is a true story, and I've actually walked under this tree and showed my kids where this happened. They would climb up into this tree. I mean, this tree had to be, I don't know, 100 feet high, 150 feet high, whatever it was. And they would climb onto this branch that would overhang the street. And they literally put a toilet seat up on the branch. And these kids would go up and they would sit on the toilet seat. And these kids I knew would literally poop through the toilet seat, down onto the ground and try to hit cars as they drove by. And I mean, that was just one of the things. But I remember one of the parents found out and their kid got his ass beat for doing that because I think someone turned him in. I mean, some of the shit that we did as kids was just over the top crazy. But you're right. If you got caught.
Oh, no, us too. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
do you remember wanting a cop to take you instead of your dad and mom? I do.
Oh, my dad would have killed me. I remember.
Yeah, no, I had it happen. I'm literally looking at the cop. I'm like, "Can you just arrest me?"
Yeah, I'd get in trouble in school. I'd get sent to the principal's office, and I would beg the principal, just please call my mother. Call my mother. Don't call my dad. Whatever you do, please call my mother. But I mean, it's true. Back in the day, we had a fear of our parents, and you did not want to get sent to the opposite school because if you did, you were going to get home and you were going to get your ass beat. It's just the way it was. And this isn't just me and Father Brian talking about the two of us. This was a whole generation of children. This is how we all grew up. This was the norm back then. It was everybody. I remember the same family where the father was going to beat me up in the backyard. I went to their house one day. It was like 10 kids running around the neighborhood. We're having a blast. And one of the kids, this young kid, Dan, who I still know today, dropped a huge F-bomb while we were playing football. All of a sudden, you hear his mother, Danny, and she said his middle name. I can't remember his middle name. But Danny Young, you get your ass in this house right now. And he's like, oh, no. He starts crying, walking to the house. So he's in the house, and you just hear screaming. Top of her lungs, screaming at him. He's like, no, Mom, please. So then, 5 minutes later, you see him coming out the front door with red stuff pouring down his face. So I thought initially that he was bleeding. I didn't know what it was. So finally he comes over, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? Did your mother hit you? And he's like, no, she made me drink like a half a bottle of Tabasco sauce. So since he dropped the big F-bomb, she made him drink a whole half a bottle of Tabasco sauce. And he came out with it like pouring down his face, like all over his shirt. And I mean, that was just day-to-day life back in the day, man. It looks like we lost Father Brian. But yeah, man, you guys are taking a trip down memory lane of all the abuse that Father Brian and I dealt with over the years. So Eric, are you glad you didn't grow up in the 70s and 80s, man?
Well, I never. Well, I was born in 1984, but I didn't. Well, more like probably being born in the 60s or 70s is what I would say, which I wasn't around for that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the 70s were a different time. I was born in 1968, so late 60s. I remember the 70s, somewhat. I remember the 80s really well.
Yeah.
I mean, the 70s were just a different time. They were so different than they are now. I mean, it's just, if you can imagine, just a complete polar opposite of life in every way whatsoever. But I mean, I'm kind of proud of myself. At my age, the way I've adapted to technology, the way I've been able to. I mean, you look at what we do right now. I mean, for me, I didn't get my first computer until I was 27 years old. The computers didn't exist. I never had one. So I was after college. I had, finally at 27, I had my first computer, cell phone. I don't think I had my first cell phone until my early 30s probably, or maybe mid-20s. I can't remember exactly when it was. But I mean, there's been a lot of change over the course of my life. So I'm kind of proud that I've been able to adapt to society and, and kind of roll with the punches because there have been a lot of changes over the years. Some good, some bad, I mean, there are a lot of good things when you think about, the world in 2020. I mean, I think that you have people are a lot more inclusive, I think, in general. You don't have as much racism in 2020. You don't have as much, hatred towards maybe people who are gay and things like that in 2020. So, yeah, I figure I'm sure he'll be back. Hey, he's dropped off. Hey, Lady Rebecca, how are you? Yeah, he's welcome to come back when he gets here. I mean, there are a lot of good things, here in 2020. But I think also there are a lot of things that aren't as good also, Go ahead.
Oh, I was just chewing on some fries.
Oh, what are you having for dinner? Fries and what?
I just got done with the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and I am waiting to get turned back out onto the road after some traffic passes.
Chick-fil-A. I had to bring my son to work earlier this afternoon, and he got Popeyes. That's his favorite place. He likes that more than Chick-fil-A. So he got his Popeyes before we went in. And what's funny? This is kind of a funny story. I'm in line getting ready to pick up the food at Popeyes, and I'm waiting for the food to be brought out. And all of a sudden, I look over across the parking lot, and there's a Taco Bell across the parking lot. So in the parking lot of the Taco Bell, there was a Chick-fil-A van, or like a truck, like a food truck, in the parking lot. So I'd never seen one of those before. It was a Chick-fil-A food truck. So I say to the guy working in Popeyes, I get to the line, I'm like, look at that. There's a Chick-fil-A truck over there, parked in the parking lot. And the guy was pissed. He's like, son of a bitch, they're not supposed to be there. I only see 2 cars over there parked in front of him, so they must not be doing any business. But he was just so angry that they set up in a parking lot, like right across from where the Popeyes was, and they were serving people food there, which is kind of funny. I was laughing about that. So, Mr. Ray, I see the talk about tamales. I still want tamales sent to me, so I need to. It was funny, Mr. Ray, you were talking about tamales the other day. Now, we live in Massachusetts, and not a ton of Mexican people in Massachusetts, not a ton of good Mexican restaurants, but we had a person just post on one of the local Facebook groups from my area. They just moved here from Texas, and they were looking for good tamales in Massachusetts. So that was literally a post that I just read last night, and that made me think of you talking about the tamales you're having for dinner and your special Christmas tamales, and it's kind of making me think I want to try some tamales. I don't know if I've ever even had one. Have you guys ever had tamales, Eric, Robert? I don't know if I've ever had any of those. Have you?
It's probably been years since I've last eaten tamales. Don't get to eat them very often, but I know the Mexican restaurant I go to do trivia, they serve it.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I've ever had it. I mean, it sounds like it's good. Now, what exactly is in a tamale? What is a tamale? Is it like a burrito, kind of like a burrito type of thing?
It's kind of similar to it, but I wouldn't say it's anything like a burrito or a soft taco.
Okay, so it's pretty similar because I do like. There's a couple of somewhat decent places around here, but I'm sure it's probably nothing compared to what you get, living in Texas or Southern California or any of those places that border Mexico. But I mean, I do like Mexican food to the places I go to, but I don't think we have anything that really compares here. And I think the last time I was down south, I had tried grits for the first time. Also, I had never had grits before because they really don't serve those up here in Massachusetts. Now, is that something you eat regularly, Eric? Do you eat grits or not really?
I mean, I like to eat grits as a breakfast item, but the only time I'm accustomed to getting grits is if I want to go to the Waffle House.
Oh, do they have grits at Waffle House? Because I've been to the Waffle House in Florida quite a few times. We don't have Waffle Houses up here in New England, but we do go a lot when we're in Florida. What's the other restaurant I like? There's another restaurant in Florida that I love. You guys have Perkins in Georgia? Oh, yeah, because we don't have those up here. And every time we go to Florida, we end up going to Perkins and eating at those restaurants. And those are always good. We always look forward to hitting one of those when we head down to the warmer climate. Robert, how about you? What type of foods do you like, buddy? Robert, do you have any favorite foods that you like? Hey, Ruba, welcome to the show. Robert, you still with us, buddy? Or are you just kind of on mute?
I'm guessing he might be on mute.
Yeah, he might be. That's okay. I figured I'd just check with him. So, I don't know, man. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, we were talking a little bit about politics before we went in another direction and talked a little bit to Father Brian. But I still would love to see something happen on January 6th. I think it needs to happen. I think that there's obviously proof that we had cheating in this election. And it's going to take someone with brass balls to stand up and actually put this thing on display for everybody. I'm hoping Trump does it. But I don't know. I haven't gotten a clear message from him. And
I know January 5th should be interesting, too, when Georgia has its 2 Senate runoff elections. And I'm also working on trying to get in touch with, Georgia Attorney Lynn Wood and have him come on Slightly's show. If we can get him on the 4th, that would be great. That would be a really talked about show.
That would be huge to get Lynn Wood on. Now I've also seen in this trouble.
I guess if he's not too busy, I guess.
Yeah, well, I've seen also now that it looks like, 1.3 million absentee ballots have already been cast in Georgia? Is that accurate? I think it's like 1.3 million.
I'm thinking so.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think we're going to see more of what we've seen in the presidential election where, you're going to have, again, a lot of votes all going in one direction, and it's going to go towards, the Democratic candidates. And, man, I'll tell you, it's scary to think about the Democrats having control of both branches of the Senate. I mean, it's just terrifying to think about that, but it could happen. I mean, what's the word in Georgia? Are people saying that they feel that this election is also going to be stolen, or do they think that we have a chance of having a fair election?
I would hope we have a chance at a fair election, but we really don't know for sure. And I remember being on Wolf's Real Talk Radio earlier today, and he, of course, spoke about the differences between the Insurrection Act and martial law, but I'm just waiting to see Cummings come back with another show very soon as well.
Yeah, when's he going to be back on again? I didn't see him over the weekend. I took the weekend off also, and I'm probably only going to do a couple of shows this week, being that it's Christmas week. Yeah. But is he going to be on tonight at all? I'd like to kind of hear him talk a little bit about that.
Hopefully he'll be on one day this week. I mean, we would have to DM him on Twitter to see what he says, but I think Wolf's coming on about lunchtime, every day this week, him and his wife. And then, of course, we had Nevermind to come on the show today as well to talk. She took the day off from work, and you and Slightly had come in the show when she was on the line. I mean,
Yeah, that was
Lara finds her very interesting.
That was a really good show. I actually enjoyed that show. I had to unfortunately jump off and take a work call halfway through the show, but I was really enjoying the show. It was really kind of a good description of the two differences between what we were talking about, and I don't know. I mean, I hope that we do this the right way, but for me, it just seems like right now it's leaning towards nothing's going to happen. Biden's going to be the president, and we're going to have to deal with him for the next 4 years. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but to me, it seems like that's the direction we're going. I don't know if you feel differently or not, but
I think with some of these Republicans, I'm still here.
Eating dinner.
We're gonna be seeing like where a lot of politicians' loyalties lie. Of course,
we are. I mean, that's what we're so.
Sorry for talking about my mouth full.
That's okay. That's all right. I mean, that's why I was so disappointed in McConnell. But I think if any of us get anything out of this whole thing, I think one thing that needs to happen, and I'm not sure why the American people haven't demanded this more, but I think as a population of this country, we need to really organize and start demanding term limits for all politicians. Because until we have term limits for every branch of government, things are never going to change. There are always going to be these people in power that are making these decisions for us, maybe run by the deep state. Who knows exactly, I guess who's controlling everything. But in my opinion, things are never going to change until we actually have term limits across the board. And, it's not going to happen. They're not going to come out and just give us term limits. We have to fight for them, and we have to demand them in order for them to happen. And we're just not organized as a country, to do that.
I'm thinking what it might come down to, John, considering, and I know you and Slightly and a couple other friends would be in agreement that our members of the House and Senate are not just going to up and agree to vote themselves out of a job. It may take a constitutional Congress, like a convention style, constitutional Congress taking place, to get that constitutional amendment added to where, members of Congress are term limited, and we could get rid of that culture of corrupt career politicians.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to do something to make the change, and until as a country we're willing to come together and create term limits and get people out. I mean, give them 4 years, whatever you want to make that be, and then you move on, and then you bring in fresh blood and you bring in fresh ideas. You can't have people in office for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, I don't think I realized. I saw a story about Nancy Pelosi a couple nights ago. I didn't realize she was 80. Did you know she was that old? She's 80. 80 years old.
Well, Maxine Waters is 82, and
80. I didn't realize
Dianne Feinstein, she's 87.
Is she really? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean,
Richard Shelby, I would like to say is like 85 or 86.
There's no need for that. I mean, there is absolutely no need for people to be in office for that long. Yeah, we lost you a little bit there. I think you're in the Matrix.
Sorry, I'm out driving.
That's okay.
And so you could. So with Dianne Feinstein, it's easy to just say that she's pushing 90 because she will be 91 when she's up for re-election again in 2024, and assuming that everybody's still here then. Right.
I don't know. It's something again. I don't want to talk about this for too long, but in this country, I think we need to make some decisions as to what we're going to do going forward. And if we really want change, we have to do something, about term limits, institute those, get them in place. Because if not, things are never going to change, and we're going to continue to get what we've been getting, for the last God knows how many years. And we've talked about the elections in 2016, the election here in 2020. There is perceived cheating in both of those elections. I mean, who knows? Maybe every election we've ever had has been an election where there has been widespread cheating. Maybe we have never had the free choices that we have believed that we have had. So if that's the case, I mean, I'm trying to think. I remember when I was in Germany, probably 15 years ago, maybe even longer than that, probably 20 years ago now, I met a couple of guys from Russia in Germany, and we were talking about the differences between our country and their country over beer. And I still remember one of the Russian guys saying to me in Germany, he said point blank, he said, if you think the United States is a free country, you're crazy. And I remember we were having a conversation about the Soviet Union and the communism, and they both made that point to me that they were laughing when we very much believed that the United States was a free country. They were laughing about that, saying, your country is no more free than our country is. And the more you see some of the things that are happening in society right now, that may be true. Hey, Smith and Wesson and Alpha Mike, thanks for coming into the show. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. If Biden is in office in January, we have no choice but to make the best out of it. I hope something's going to happen.
Well, I would hope that David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are able to successfully win their elections, because I know a Republican-controlled Senate would be our only saving grace.
Right.
Because I even have a friend who lives 20 minutes from me, and he says this about Biden, that the reason, even though he's not a super huge Trump fan, he's more concerned about the Dems than he is the Republicans. And he would say the same thing about Perdue and Loeffler and Ossoff and Warnock.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been on Facebook a little bit lately, and I'm honestly thinking about just getting rid of my Facebook page altogether, because every time anything comes up where a Republican mentions something about the election, you're immediately censored. So I'm thinking about getting rid of Facebook altogether. But I've been looking at the news, and even all the news, all the news platforms. I mean, they're all talking about baseless claims of fraud, and everything they say, everything they present to us has the intent of discrediting the other side, making the people who believe there was cheating look like we're nuts. And I don't know. I just don't even know who to trust anymore. I mean, I have made the switch over to Parler. I do like the Parler platform.
MeWe and Gab are interesting platforms too.
Which ones?
Gab, GAB, and MeWe, MEWE.
Yeah, I'm on MeWe, but now what's Gab? I'm not familiar with Gab. What's that one?
I think it's touted as another censorship-free social media platform. I haven't really studied much into it, but I know of a couple of people who own it. And then the video platform Rumble, hopefully you're working on signing up for that in the event that, say, YouTube and DLive, Twitch, and other social media platforms with live streaming video platforms decide to start censoring you. But also another smart move for people is for everybody to check out the new VOPUSARadio.com. Because
I think that's an exciting new platform. I think it's going to be a great thing, as we get into it. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of censoring happening here on Podbean.
It's happened with VOP USA Radio Show a few times where I was remember when Wednesday, September 2nd, it was yesterday, being in that Wednesday show that Dan and Carrie do called Rise Above the Noise. And they got kill switched, about 5, 6, or maybe 7 times, to the point that Carrie had to fire up a live under her name, and I was the only one that called in for that. And then other people like Slightly and Dennis and Truly and maybe even you and Lady Me even witnessed the censorship practices in real time, and then it even happened to Cummings. And then the thing about Dennis, they're not really kill switching him per se. They're doing something with his audio where they just cut him off midway through the show, to the point that he has to kill the live cast and then start up a new one. And then Slightly was only kill switched one time when we had Anthony Carbonaro on.
They never cut me off. So I must not say anything worth listening to, I guess. I never get cut off as far as I know. And I see Class 1 Probes comment, the grass isn't always greener. You're right. I do worry about that because, honestly, I don't hate Podbean. I really don't. I think all in all, Podbean is a good medium. I haven't dealt with a lot of the shadow banning. I haven't been suspended. I probably deserve to be suspended here and there, but it hasn't happened yet. But I guess if that's happened to me, probably more than not, I'd probably be angry as well.
And then I think
a lot of other shows.
And then I happen to think about our good buddy Cracks, who does the Talking Corner from Exotics Radio podcast, and the bad experiences she's had with Podbean recently, where she couldn't even come in to do her live shows. And she come to find out that her Podbean account had been hacked, and and she nearly had her identity compromised to the point that
Oh boy.
and Podbean had failed to notify her of that security breach, which suggests to me that Podbean was very negligent and I mean, and if Cracks is about fed up with Podbean to the point that she might be considering coming over to VOP USA Radio, I would say I don't blame her.
Yeah.
And then Cracks, I know, has proven herself to be a very good friend.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've learned in all the years of conducting business, I've been in business for 25 years. I mean, you need to take care of your customers. And again, I don't care if you own a brick and mortar business. I don't care if you own a grocery store, if you own, whatever it may be, a technology company. You need to take care of your people, because if you don't take care of your people, if you're not thankful for the fact that they give you their money, then they will find someplace else to spend their money. Now, I know that, Glenn ended up leaving. It's too bad. Glenn is, a great guy, has had some good shows. He said he doesn't have a positive thing to say about Podbean. And yeah, VOP doesn't respond to your emails, so I'm not sure why that's the case. We could put them in touch with you via Twitter. But, Podbean hasn't done, I mean, the only thing that I've had trouble with in Podbean is just trolls and things like that. But you're going to have that anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can make up a fake identity with no, with no background check or anything like that. You're going to have trolls.
And I find that pretty damn remarkable, if not beyond remarkable, that Podbean, does not do a good job, vetting people's user profiles and their IP addresses and to rein in that culture of like trolling and people being able to create these fake troll accounts utilizing VPN technology.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they could somehow do that. It seems like, the trolls could be punished. I mean, again, if I'm sitting here and I'm creating fake profiles and I'm using either my computer or my phone, I mean, every one of these devices has a number that you can track back to that device. So again, if you've got one IP address that is creating, 10 fake accounts, then I mean, obviously there's a problem there. Maybe there needs to be some penalties handed out to people that are doing those type of things, Well,
and another thing to consider, like when it comes to a lot of the trolls and the bullies that come on this platform to harass people and and say some of the most egregious and unflattering things, chances are it's not going to be isolated to just one person. It's possible multiple parties are possibly involved and encouraging this culture to go on. When basically, there are some of us who are basically standing up to say enough is enough. We want to be able to do our podcast shows in peace.
Yeah, Class 1 Probe just made a good little comment in there saying that I like how it's small and he likes the neighborhood feeling of Podbean. Mm-hmm. That is one of the things I've liked. And again, thank God for Podbean. Thank God for me discovering this podcasting community in this fucked up year of 2020, because we've had so many negative things to deal with this year, one thing after another. And this has actually been one bright light for me, where I've been able to come in, see some friendly faces. I've met some new friends. I mean, I like everybody here except for Glenn. Glenn, I could take him or leave him. Just kidding, Glenn. I love you. But, I mean, it is a great family feel. And I agree. That is one of the good things about it. I don't foresee myself ever cutting ties with Podbean completely. Let's see. Fuck you too, John, in a loving manner. Yes, exactly. I thought you said, for a second when I first read it, I thought you said, fuck you, John, I'm a loud moaner. And I was like, oh, I didn't want to know that at all. But I'm glad that I read it a second time and realized you said in a loving manner. So I feel better about things now. But, whatever. I mean, I am going to try out VOP, but I'm going to still maintain my account here. And if we can do a crossover or something like that, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll do the both shows. So go ahead.
Well, we know, but Dan's always interested in growing his VOP USA platform. But I get that, like we said previously, that there may be a lot of Podbean friends of ours who may not be motivated to leave or have no interest in making that big switch at this time. But that doesn't mean we're going to say goodbye to Podbean forever, because we'll still come over here and support these friends. And it is our hope that they might consider downloading that app to where they can come over and support other friends, because... And of course, to plug like the VOP USA radio lineup, you've got on Sunday nights, it's We Drink and We Know Things with Carrie and her husband Kevin. Monday nights, it's the VOP USA Radio Ladies Night. Tuesdays, it's the VOP USA Radio Roundtable with Elias, Logan, Gorgeous, and company. And then Wednesdays, it's the Rise Above the Noise with Dan and Carrie. Thursdays, it's the main VOP USA Radio show. And Fridays is the VOP USA Radio Roast. And here on Podbean and over on VOP USA and YouTube and DLive and Twitch and other video platforms, you've got the Slightly Serious show, of course. But starting in the new year, we will have yours truly and Mr. Impact doing the Truly Impacted podcast, formerly Crosstalk. And you've also got Wolf's Real Talk Radio and Cummings' Culture also going over to VOP along with you, John. And hopefully we could try to convince a few more friends interested in joining us.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question here, because this is one thing I've been struggling with a little bit. And I guess I have to have a conversation maybe with Dan or whatever. But for me, I can't figure out how to even set up on a plan. Like, how do you actually get on and sign up for the program? When I get in, I see their show. I don't see like the live studio. Like, I don't know if I'm just not seeing it correctly. If I'm not
you're having place. You're having to utilize like their Twitch and YouTube feeds are like, which is like twitch.tv/VOP USA Radio, and on youtube.com just search VOP USA Radio for their video platforms, and they follow those chats very closely until a podcast app similar to what Podbean and Castbox have is up and ready.
Right. Huh. Yeah, for whatever reason, the one thing I do like about Podbean is it's easy. And I need for something to be easy. Because, again, I'm decent with technology. Well, let's face it, I'm an old fuck. And I'm not great at technology. So for me, I need something that's kind of easy for me to use because I'm a Gen Xer, I'm 52 years old and whatever. I think I need to have Dan take me through and kind of show me, the ins and outs of how this thing works. Because it seems like it's different than Podbean,
But I expect like the app to have like a call-in feature similar to this, and the capability of publishing audio episodes to other podcatcher platforms. But we will see it once it's ready, and hopefully Dan and Slightly and other people, including Carrie and Kevin, can give us some sort of like walkthrough on how this is going to be done.
Now, Eric, what happened? I see with Glenn down there. He, I guess, had emailed VOP and he hasn't heard back. Dan
is very busy. You do have to give him time, but if you haven't heard back from Dan, try emailing Slightly at slightlyserioushow@gmail.com and hopefully Slightly can give you like a more prompt response.
Right. Yeah. So I'll say, listen, I'm going to have to. I keep getting phone calls. I've got like 4 phone calls in the last 10 minutes from the same phone number.
Yeah.
I keep hitting reject. So I'm going to have to get off and take that phone call.
Well,
I think it might be my wife. But I'm going to wrap this bad boy up. Yep. So why don't you tell everybody what shows are coming up?
Well, I think the shows coming up later include Chuck and Billy's Not Your Cup of Tea, and then the Monday night edition of like Mysteries of the Paranormal with David. It's like, I guess, like a call-in show of some sort. And if you're going over to VOPUSARadio.com, again, it's their Monday night Ladies Night show, and then Slightly Serious.
Not Glenn. I'm sorry, Father Brian. Planet AG.
And then Brian will be on at 9:30 Eastern for anybody who wants to check him out as well. And I figure don't know if Robert's doing his show later on tonight or not. But if he is, he'll usually be on about midnight or 1 a.m. Eastern. Then tomorrow morning, the Ralph Williams podcast is on at 6 a.m. And hopefully, everybody will go in and check him out should he go on in the morning, then chit chat with the old man at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then on that Podbean daytime schedule, you have, Just Another Day in Paradise, Dreadnought 928, Wolf's Real Talk Radio, and should, I think, Cummings' Culture do a show, definitely be on the lookout for him, of course.
Yeah, I'm going to be on sometime tomorrow also. I'm going to do shows tomorrow, then again Wednesday, and then after that, I'm going to probably take a few days off.
If you do your show on Wednesday, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. is when Cracks and the Talking Corner podcast is on. It's that way we try not to go opposite her. And
right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then Frankie D's Crib is on at 3 p.m. if you're still trying to work on convincing him to do a get to know your podcast interview, unless it's
Frankie D actually emailed me over the weekend. I got to write back to him. I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot. He does want to come on, so I'm going to do an interview with Frankie D at some point. I got to write him back and get
Good
him
idea.
scheduled at some point. Yeah. So, all right, listen, I don't have any music because I'm on my phone, so no music, no sound effects.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap up this bad boy, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Love you all now.
Well, it was good hanging out with you, John. Love you. God bless and Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you next time. See you later.